Talk about productivity, stamina, or getting ahead, and people lean in. But quietly mention lying down in the middle of the day with no goal, and most will look away. We've been taught that success comes from grinding non-stop. But anyone who's pushed themselves to the brink knows that even the strongest arms start shaking. Somewhere between fatigue and burnout, a different truth shows up. Real progress sometimes starts by stepping back, long before electricity turned night into an extension of the workday. A scholar sat in a dim library copying texts by candlelight. When the sun rose, he pushed the books away, lay down on cool stone tiles, and fell into a nap so consistent his peers called it his invisible lecture. He believed and showed without saying that the brain often learns best when it stops trying so hard. Centuries later in a war bunker, a world leader took the same lesson seriously. Every afternoon, he left the stress behind, changed into silk pajamas, and took a 1-hour nap. His clearest decisions, the ones that saved thousands of lives, were often made right after waking. A jazz pianist known for his wild improvisations would leave the stage and sit in an alley behind the club, still as stone, for hours. People joked he was trying to hear the city's secret song beneath the traffic. He never denied it. When he returned, it always sounded like silence had joined the band. Even now, a mountain runner ignores the award ceremony after finishing a vertical marathon. She slips into the woods, lies face down on moss, and waits. Waits until her heartbeat sinks with the drip of melting snow. She calls it her erase and rewrite. A few minutes of surrender undo the damage of hours. When she stands up, her legs feel brand new. Out in the desert, monks in simple robes rise before dawn, chant into the sunrise, then sit for hours facing a blank wall. Visitors usually squirm in boredom, but those who stay long enough learn the trick. The wall isn't blank. After a while, breathing slows, tension fades, and the mind rearranges itself without any help. What once felt personal turns out to be borrowed. Some problems even vanish completely. You might be tempted to draw a personality type from these stories, but real rest isn't tied to any one kind of person. The scholar on the floor, the general in pajamas, the pianist in the alley, the runner in the woods, the monk facing the wall, they all found the same clarity, but through very different paths. What they discovered isn't a theory, but a toolkit. Small, repeatable habits that never go out of style. First, they stopped fighting time. Most of us carry a built-in clock that keeps whispering we're behind. The people who master rest silence that ticking. They carve out blocks, sometimes a few minutes, sometimes a whole afternoon, and make them off-limits to pressure. Inside that space, the to-do list loses power. The mind, no longer on a leash, finds its own pace. Ideas arrive when they're ready. Second, they let the body do the heavy lifting. Deep rest hands the problem over to your cells. Sleep stitches memory, flushes waste, balances emotions. Even sitting quietly helps. Heart rhythms stabilize, inflammation drops, creativity rises. The nap, the forest lay down, the alley stillness, they're all ways of handing the baton to biology and saying, you take it from here. Third, they rest anywhere. They don't wait for the perfect mattress or a luxury retreat. The runner's moss is different every time. The alley smells like beer. The monk's wall shows nothing. Rest that only works in perfect conditions is weak. Rest that happens in the mess, that's strong. It's not about the scenery, it's about calming your nerves wherever you are. Fourth, they mark the edges. Before lying down, the scholar closed his ink bottle. The general draped a towel over his head and changed clothes. The pianist closed his eyes and took one long breath. The runner presses her palms into the dirt before collapsing and brushes off leaves when she's done. These simple actions teach the body. We're switching gears now. Stillness and motion aren't enemies. They're neighbors with a shared door. Fifth, they unclench their focus. Problems grab the mind, and we grab them right back. Real rest shifts your attention to smaller, quieter things. The feel of breath on your lip, a pulse behind your ear, the way a shirt brushes your collarbone. The grip loosens. Often, the thing you thought you had to solve lets go before you even try again. Science backs this up. Brain scans show that what used to be labeled doing nothing actually lights up when we rest. Problems shelved hours earlier come back solved. The nervous system repairs itself. Time even stretches. An unscheduled afternoon can feel like a weekend. And history proves it. A stranded Arctic explorer made his crew sing, read, and nap every day while waiting for rescue. Everyone survived. A burned-out software exec disappears twice a year to a lakeside cabin. No screens, no calls. He comes back with ideas that reshape his entire industry. A Renaissance painter used to nap among vines on his roof. His frescoes below feel like they were painted by someone who'd just seen heaven. No matter the time or place, people who do big things all seem to follow the same script. They make time off non-negotiable. They trust their bodies to work things out. They find peace in unlikely places. They know how to start and stop with intention, and they train their attention to soften. Not one of them stumbled into this by accident. Most had to break down first to realize that just stopping doesn't mean you're truly resting. Vacations can leave you more drained. Real rest is careful, clean, and precise. It cuts away even the need to rush. The first kind of rest begins when outside demands pause. The deeper kind starts when you tell yourself to stop without expecting to feel better right away. That's when change sneaks in. The brain wanders, first through worries, then through memories, then into quiet. And from that silence, answers sometimes rise on their own. Some argue that real rest is a luxury only rich people can afford, but they forget. The monk's wall costs nothing. The scholar slept on stone. The runner chooses moss over hotel rooms. 10 deep breaths while your kettle boils can work just as well as a day at a retreat. One quiet minute in a parked car before sunrise can hold the whole sky. Others say, "But I don't have time," yet handling emergencies without rest only makes them worse. The general's bunker nap brought him clarity. A nurse on a night shift who closes her eyes for 6 minutes makes fewer mistakes. A parent who gives a child full attention for 15 minutes has a calmer home for hours. Rest makes you better at everything else. Deep rest creates space inside you. That space lets problems float instead of cling. Some drift off, others shrink. A few stay big, but you see their edges clearly and know where to start. Rest isn't the opposite of work. It's what makes good work possible. What's left after these practices isn't emptiness, it's depth. A kind of inner pool, calm but alive. Ask a question there, and the answer might echo back hours or weeks later, shaped by silence into something you'd never thought of. Some call this laziness, but rest doesn't run away from reality. It returns to it with more clarity. The scholar woke up with new ideas. The sailor kept going with steadier hands. The designer came back with plans no one else could imagine. The problem was still there. It just didn't stand a chance.